Good morning. I'm Ashley Scott, and I want to welcome you to Mocha Money Monday. I am super excited to have a guest who is also a friend and someone I just consider an all-around brilliant man who is helping to build our young people around STEM Revolution Inc. He's a nonprofit executive director. He is a graduate of West Point, the first Kappa line that ever crossed at West Point, the bring the chapter there. So this is someone who's not just someone who is familiar with making history, he's also a crypto expert. So he's making a big wave to help especially our people understand more about cryptocurrency and how we can make it an everyday part of our lives, how we can teach our children about it, and how we can create businesses and careers and investments around this whole new business model using the blockchain, right? So I'm
Absolutely.
excited to introduce Cory Henry. Good morning, Cory.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. Ashley, we go way back, so I'm excited to elevate any platform that you're involved in. So I hope everybody got their thinking caps on because we're going to drop some nuggets and then we're going to get excited about some things we got coming in the future. But blockchain, crypto, people use the word crypto. I like to use the word blockchain um, in order to demystify the technology that enables all of this, right? And it's going to be blockchain businesses that we are investing in, which are called cryptocurrencies.
Okay. I love this conversation already. Now, when you talk about businesses, it almost reminds me of the internet where it was a day where everybody had to be on the website. Like it was one time when everybody wasn't on the internet at all. You didn't have a web page, you didn't have an Instagram page, but then one day you wake up and everybody's on the internet, right? Everybody's got a Facebook page, everybody's got Instagram, everybody's got this website. Most people are, or at least Google reviews. They got a Google review site, something, right?
There you go.
If you're a business now, I think we're going to look up one day and everybody's going to have that digital wallet, that blockchain wallet, and their business is going to have to be on the blockchain to be able to accept these digital payments and to really do business. These contracts, these are contracts on the internet, on the blockchain. So can you, our audience has been learning a little bit. We've had a couple of speakers already talking about blockchain, stable coins. So what I want you to get into a little bit more with us today, Cory, is just some of the I think changes that we should be looking forward to.
Absolutely.
And some of the things that we should be doing as entrepreneurs to make sure that we're including these innovations in our business infrastructure going forward, and what the laws look like, right? Like what are the laws as it relates to blockchain?
Absolutely. So there's two main things that we have as positives going for us right now. Number one, the Bitcoin ETF that was approved almost a year ago. And that has been now allowing more institutional investors to come into Bitcoin. Now, just recently, the Ethereum ETF was approved. And prior to Ethereum ETF being approved, there was a federal lawsuit where Ethereum was basically identified as a decentralized commodity, meaning it didn't have an owner. And that validated that smart contracts are real, right, in the court of law. And 3 days later, the Ethereum ETF was approved, right? What does that mean for ERC20 based tokens? What that means is that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if Ethereum is not a security, then neither are other ERC20 based token contracts, right? It means that anything that is technically the exact same as Ethereum, the same programming, the same infrastructure, the same everything else, just copied with a different name, a different code. That's what all these other spinoffs have done. They've taken the same code and they've modified it, mostly just changing the names and the tokenomics, but they're basically Ethereum copies, right?
Okay.
That's going to allow a lot more investment in Ethereum, which makes it easier for Ethereum investors to move into these altcoins, these alternate tokens that are based on Ethereum. So you're going to see a lot more elevation as Bitcoin and Ethereum users continue to grow in the value of their assets. They're going to move into these altcoins that have a real business utility, right? So not just NFTs and pictures of funny things, but real business utilities where blockchain is the preeminent technology that drives the business model. And that's where we're really going to start to see Chainlink and other critical utilities that are critical to the whole Web3 infrastructure. Render, a lot of these things that are powering AI, decentralized file storage, things of that nature are going to really start to increase in value because of all the data coming onto the chain.
So talk more about the chain. I think this is the first time I or our audience through this series have heard about just what this chain is and what that looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a little bit more, or if you could illustrate what that looks like for a business owner who's really like, okay, I need to get with this. I need to put that thinking cap on.
Absolutely. Yep. Blockchain is a messaging platform. And everybody who wants to carry their message securely across this network, they have to jump on one block at a time, right? And you have to attach your message to that block so that now my message is secured on that block. And now anytime there's a reference point where we need to reference that message, it's there on that chain. You see what I'm saying? There are many blockchains, but the most valuable ones carry the most valuable messages, right? Because if you want your message to be immutable, you want your message to always be there, to always be able to be read openly across without being hacked in any way or altered in any way, right? Then you're going to choose a chain that has the most long-term viability. And right now, that is Bitcoin and that is Ethereum, right? There are many chains, and all a chain is an open messaging platform, right? And every time you have a transaction that you want to store, then you choose the chain that you want to store your data on. And there are many, right? But you have to know strategically which one is the best for you. I sit on the board serve as the director of education for the GWAP blockchain foundation, right? So our goal is to educate people using GWAP as our tool of education. So we have the ability to write smart contracts onto our chain. And empowering our businesses with smart contracts is the best thing that we can understand, do, redo, and perpetuate in this whole conversation, right? How do I write smart contracts? How do I deploy smart contracts? How do I utilize smart contracts so that I can automate business decisions, so that I can automate financial decisions and can make transparent group decisions, and we can remove the responsibility of the leaders to have to be perfect people. And now that is managed by the smart contract, right? So when you have a decentralized decision-making process, trust is no longer an issue. And there is nothing more important in Black people Then the reestablishment of trust, especially as we do business, because our inability to trust one another personally carries over into our inability to trust one another business-wise. But blockchain is the answer to that. We can remove trust. We don't have to have these figureheads. We don't have to have these. We've been a leaderless community for decades. So blockchain is perfect for us who have not had to survive by these figureheads, right? These strong men, if you will, so that now we can trust in the agreement. And that's what's most important in every single business relationship. It's the agreement, it's the contract.
This is good. So one of the things that we talk about, even when we were building Freedom, Georgia, right, was how we govern ourselves. And it sounds like to me that this is a way to create those agreements, those contracts, those bylaws. We're familiar with these things because we got corporate laws, bylaws. We got bylaws in the church, baby. We know about some laws and some contracts, right?
Absolutely.
And so we can put these things now in this digital form that's very transparent. So it doesn't, what's the mystery here? Why are people adverse to it?
The mystery is the word choices that we've used. When we call it crypto, we automatically give it a mystic value. But it's been around since the 60s, right? It was how it was cryptography. It was how they masked messages that were being sent by Navy ships. And, the military has always had this technology. And it was pre-internet. This technology is pre-internet. So there's never been a time where we did not have blockchain technology, right? It's just finally, Bitcoin was the first utility of blockchain as a money.
Okay.
As a ledger of finance.
Got it.
But it was always a ledger of information. So if we can prioritize the ledger of information over the ledger of money, then blockchain will really find its best utilities inside of our community. It's when we try to make it a replacement for money as the first means of utilization that we miss the whole gift of what we really have here. And by 2025, I said 2025, 90% of all content online will be AI generated content. 90%. So there's going to be so much fake stuff that there will be a premium on human generated content. And the only way to really, really be able to see that truthfully is for there to be some kind of blockchain utility attached. Proof of humanity, proof of brain, proof of us, even proof of Black, proof of woman, proof of man, proof of original thought, intellectual property. Everything is going to be attached to your proof of work. And if you can show it, then you own it. But if you can't show it, then it was your gift to the world.
Just like that. How do we begin what's the best wallet? What's the best way? If we all agree that, yes, we want to monetize ourselves, we want to monetize our data, because that's essentially what you just told me, is my data, who I am as a human proof. I need an attachment token similar to my social security number, right?
Absolutely.
So how do we create this? How do we agree to this initially in a way that I say, yes, your proof is real when I start saying, because if you're saying there's all these altcoins out here,
it starts at your domain of choice.
Okay.
So originally it was the .eth addresses, right? And everybody was buying up the .eth addresses as their way of establishing their blockchain identity. You can establish your blockchain identity on many blockchain domains.
Mm-hmm.
But once you establish your identity, the one that you want to carry your most valuable content, then that's where you start attaching your smart contracts to that, right? That's where you sign. So when they're looking to sign using your wallet for you to sign an agreement or sign something, then that's where that is going to be, right? And other blockchains, based off what you're doing, for instance, if we create a utility using the Guap blockchain smart contract, then for the things that you need to do inside of that network, you're going to have a wallet that supports that. But MetaMask is pretty much a universal wallet for most of us to establish all of our own smart contract capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And smart contracts are more important than what chain you choose.
Okay.
The smart contract is more about the life you choose to live and the way that you choose to establish yourself on the Web3 footprint, right?
Mm-hmm.
So back in the day, your .com that's your footprint, that's you. But you can have a at gmail.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we did that, we got it for free, but we gave them all of our information just to have a free domain address.
Right.
We gave Hotmail all of our information just to have a free one. And we gave all these platforms our information, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, just to have a free one. But look how much it empowered them. And look how little they care about us. So our next play is to do it for us.
Amen.
We already did it for them.
Mm-hmm.
We're still doing it for them. After all these years, we're still stuck on doing it for them. So this is the way for us to have confidence in doing it for us to show up at our party with our dancing shoes on,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
At our party, and to have it to be exclusively us without any apology, because we just closed Congress's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Hello, somebody.
We just closed it in order to get money approved to send billions of dollars to Ukraine and to Gaza. We shut down the Congress's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion after an order by the Supreme Court of the United States said, yeah, run it.
Yeah.
And we around here still trying to figure out how to assimilate.
And there ain't no point in that, right? That's what we started this conversation pre podcast talking about the Fearless Fund and Fearless Fund Freedom Foundation and how important it is for us to start looking at ways.
Blockchain is the only way that we're going to be able to identify ourselves as a collective value, store of value, right?
Yes, Ashe. I said this, I had this conversation, I believe it was with Donetta not too long ago, where I talked about the importance of our data and how we take back ownership of our data. And this is
If
the
the Fearless
conversation.
Fund was Fearless Token, we would have no lawsuits.
Come on now. Let's talk about that.
If the Fearless Fund was a Fearless Token, it would be nobody's business but the Fearless Token holders. And it's when you start applying to utilize Rome's system to dismantle Rome's power that you're going to get smacked by the Roman hand. right? But when you reach within to establish the contracts within that matter more than the contracts without, then we can establish that collective trust and we can begin to build from day one. And everything about blockchain is all tied to the value of block number one.
Okay.
And as long as you have an attachment to block number one, your thing is still working. If you violate, you disattach from block number one, and your thing goes down from the beginning all the way through.
Well, when you say it like that, that makes me worry. How do I get disassociated with the first block? What are some of the ways that that can happen?
When people do funny things, when people try to manipulate, when people, as long as you are righteous, there's nothing that you can do to disassociate yourself from the first block. It's the unrighteous actions. It's, hey, I want to change something or flip something or do something that is not in agreement with contract, and that's what gets you violated. So trying to take somebody's token or trying to, steal value or do all that, you're going to trip the defenses, and then they're gonna isolate your wallet, and then you're out.
And how does that, so does that mean it can be fixed so that the people who might have been a victim of that can get their coins back? How does stuff like that work? Because when we start thinking about the risk of these,
The beauty of that is decentralized culture. It's a matter of proposing a vote amongst the community. They put a proposal forward, and if 51% of people agree, boom, an adjustment can be made, and all of the stolen tokens can be isolated and removed from the system, and the community can reimburse any losses. It's all about the power of the community. And we should not be attached to anything that does not give the community power over an individual.
I like this.
And if America itself is saying that they no longer want to abide by the laws that y'all live by, then you're welcome to come. You're welcome to stay. CeeLo said it best.
What's CeeLo say?
He said, if you, what did he say? But if you F around, we will make your ass fly away. They're trying to say, when you establish yourself as a violator of the culture, that should come with consequences.
Yeah,
And
that's that. Well, listen, thank you, Cory. How do the people get connected with you? They want to learn more about crypto. They want to establish their business on the blockchain. What should they do first? You mentioned the Guap Coin Foundation. You also have associations. I know you teach Crypto Mondays. Talk to the people. Tell them how they can continue to have this conversation.
Yeah, every last Tuesday of the month, I'm at the Russell Center for
Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs.
Russell Innovation, the Rice Center, every last Tuesday of the month for the last almost 3 years now. I've been teaching there. I also own my own television network where we're going to be bringing a lot of content. We're on Roku, we're on Fire Stick. So check out connecttoyourcity.com. If you have Roku, search for Connect to Your City. You'll see our app. And you're going to see a lot of very Mocha-oriented content on our platform. And that's where we'll be educating and re-perpetuating the right things. So you're probably not going to hear much Get It Sexy, and you're probably not going to hear much of all of the psychological warfare that we have been under for all these years.
Well, that's good.
You're going to see some alternative media that's going to be focused on us, and you'll be able to find me on there as well. So I'm excited, And you're gonna find me back here soon,
Yeah.
really diving into more of these concepts and really getting into the how and not just the what, but the how.
Well, thank you so much, Cory Henry, for being my guest on Mocha Money Mondays. This podcast has been brought to you by the phenomenal Hughes Global Network and our friends at the Welsons Financial Group. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode where we are helping you to become a bankable business. And now we're going to help you get to be a bankable business on the blockchain, baby. Okay? Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Talk to you soon.